Hey, this is Dr. Stephanie, and this is what I call my workday wind down. I had a good day, but as I think about how to wind down from this day, I took a walk, and while I was walking, I kind of had to reflect on: do I really want to be a coach? Sometimes we pick a career, and we think it sounds good, and then things get a little bump. And sometimes it gets too damn hard. And I'm sitting there thinking about, do I really want to do this? So I'm walking across the street, and you know how you hit the button for the light so you can have, the traffic light change for pedestrians to walk. And I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for the light, and I'm hitting a button, and I'm thinking to myself, bump it, I'm just going to go across the street. And I'm going to just say make a run for it. So I got halfway across the first intersection. I waited for the cars in the opposite direction, and to get to the other side of the direction, I was like, okay, cool. I think I'm going to make it across the street. And as soon as I crossed the street, I thought I was in a clear. There was another car that was about to turn in front of me coming out of the gate. And what that showed me was, it doesn't necessarily pay to be impatient. So I think today my lessons was patience. Was I giving myself the grace that I needed to just be chill and let things happen? Sometimes when you're an entrepreneur, you want things so bad that you force the needle to kind of make things happen. And it's not always worth it. So, I'm sitting here thinking about what could I have done differently to change the needle or move the needle in a direction in my favor so I could start seeing the results that I want. And I realized I need to do two things. I need to set my morning intention, not only in my head and in my heart like I do every morning, but I also need to set my intention in writing. I do that, but not as consistently as I need to. And so I have my 2025 day planner, and I write in it every night to project what I want to do the next day. But sometimes I put too many things on that thing and I don't get through half of them. And so what I need to do is not only, like I said, put things in my head for my intention for the day, but I need to give myself grace to finish the things that are just the most important and consider everything as extra, as bonus. That way I don't have to cut corners. I don't have to be impatient for me to get to a destination, whether I'm crossing a street or whether I'm trying to cross off thing number 9 when I should have only need to cross over 5 things. And so I was sitting back and I was thinking to myself, girl, you got to chill. You got to chill. It's only like the 3 weeks into the new year, and you're already starting to speed up, that thing that creates that anxiety. And the truth is, coaching is not glamorous. Coaches get anxious too. But the most important part of my anxiety, or the anxious part of it, is that I can bring myself back to balance. I can absolutely put myself back on my own square, if that's a thing, right? Not in a box. I didn't say put myself in a box. I said put myself back on my own square. That's what a coach can do. A good coach can coach themselves. And a lot of times, y'all, I have to coach my damn self. It's almost like, I remember when my grandmother used to say, pray for yourself. Nobody pray for you. Pray for yourself. And I'm like, okay, so not only I got to pray for myself in the morning to get my mind right, get my heart right, set my intentions on paper as well, but I also have to encourage myself, and I don't always do that. Sometimes I go, damn, I can't believe I did that. Like if I'm talking to a client and I really want to get a point across, and I have everything that I want to say to this person in my head, and I feels like I'm going to tell her this and it's going to really impact her in the right way. But I also want to be intently listening to the answer to a question that I've posed to her for self-reflection, to see if she's able to put what I've taught her in her daily life. So I ask these questions. I'm like, so how does that make you feel in the presence of blah? And what tool did you use? Well, while I'm listening to her, sometimes I lose track of what I wanted to tell her next. And I go in my head, I'm trying to be intentional and listening to my clients, but then I forget what I want to say, and I have to do like this silent computation in my head to remember what I was saying, because after all, coaching is it's not glamorous, but it's so powerful. And so I do have those brain fart moments, and the brain fart moment started when I tried to cross the street, and being impatient by hitting that thing so I could cross the street, I forgot that there was a turn lane in front of me, and I was only considering the lane that I had to get over from the first median to the second median, but I completely lost track of the coming traffic out of the gate. And so here I am almost getting hit because I'm impatient, because I didn't set my intention to just be deliberate about what I was doing. Girl, what are you doing? You're crossing the street to go inside the gate, to go to the store, to get one item, to get your hours worth walking at the same time, collect your steps, and be out of there. Why did I have to be so impatient with that? That seems like a very straightforward act. I think one of the reasons why I was impatient with it, because I wasn't paying attention. And I wasn't paying attention because I felt anxious. Why did I feel anxious? I felt anxious because I had an hour to do like 5 things that would actually take me about an hour and 10 minutes, which means I tried to figure out how to shave off that 10 minutes so I can fit everything in an hour. Now, how realistic is that? I mean, does everything have to be that on point all the time? No, it doesn't. And so, isn't that the stuff you be trying to coach people with? Acquiring minds, right? So as I'm thinking about how this day went and I'm reflecting on it, I'm thinking, all right, it wasn't a bad day. I see where I could have made some adjustments, and that's what I'm talking to you about now, because what? Coaching is not glamorous, but it's so rewarding. It's rewarding for me to be able to have a body of knowledge to coach other people, and also bring myself back on my own square when I pop out and get out of pocket sometimes. But it's also rewarding when I see a person's face light up and they go, the stuff that you're teaching me is actually working. And I'm like, yes, I'm making an impact on somebody's life. That's so dope. And then I feel good about it because I realize that in this space of a profession, that there seems to be like some sort of protocol of how it's done. The truth is, you don't make it up as you go along as much as you carve out your niche of how you're going to deliver it. That's what it is. Carving out your niche, your character, your persona, and how you're going to deliver it. How I deliver my coaching business is a personal thing. And so in that space, I'm realizing that my coaching journey doesn't have to look like yours. It doesn't have to look like the last person that supported you in a way that just, knocked your socks off. Because I realize there's always something to learn. And once you have finished the lesson in one journey, there's always another lesson to learn. And there's always someone else to teach you that lesson. And that brings me to my next concept of, are we teachable? Am I teachable? I have to be teachable because I realize that I have to continue to learn how to be present for the people who find me and say, you know what? I've watched your videos. I've been to your seminars. I've read your books. I want to work with you. That's very humbling. But it also allows me to see that my wounds, my scars, my scrapes and bruises are healed enough to help the next person. And if they're not, I won't touch them. If a person is dealing with something that I haven't processed, I don't necessarily tell you, hey, girl, I haven't processed yet that myself. What I will do is I will give them what I know that will work for them to my capacity. So a good coach, which is not glamorous, but is very rewarding, acknowledges the fact that she doesn't know it all. I don't know everything. And then the key is, I don't have to coach through your scenario. I only coach through concepts. And the concepts that I coach through are very, very simple. The first concept is, since I only work with women 40 and over, I recognize that every woman in that age bracket only has 3 problems. Now, I know you're going to say, girl, there's 70 billion people in the world. Wait a minute, is it 70 billion? There's 7 billion people in the world. How do you know what everybody's dealing with? And I guarantee you, I know. Every single time I've said these 3 problems, every single woman has already co-signed, be like, girl, how did you know? So here are the 3 challenges that all women have. If you agree with me, I'm giving you the prompt right now to smash the like button, hit the bell, because every video that I'm sharing with you is going to be better than the last. So here it goes. Here are the top 3 problems that all women have. I'm not talking about the impatient part, the stuff that I talked to you about earlier in the video, but I'm talking about the 3 core problems that I coach through. And this is what allows me to coach in an unglamorous way and be supportive and have the reward of being able to serve. Here's the first problem. You ready for it? Here it goes. All women 40 and over have this first problem. You are triggered by past traumas. Boom. Did I lie? Absolutely triggered. You don't necessarily know you're triggered, though. You don't know that you're triggered. And how it happens is, if you keep having the same kinds of problems in every aspect of your life, that means that there is a trigger that keeps being pricked and you react. You've learned how to react a certain way. And here's an example. One of the examples could be impatience, right? I was impatient today. Why? Because I always feel like, trigger of past trauma, that I have to hurry up and get it done because nobody's going to wait for me to get it done, right? Nobody's going to wait for you to have a mishap. Nobody's going to wait for you to be sad. Nobody's going to give you a moment to be human. So you have to hurry up and get things done, which creates impatience. And not only are you impatient with your own life, you become impatient with everybody else. So that's a trigger of a past trauma right there. The other thing that women go through that, hold it. I need to back up, right? And say it again. The first problem is women are triggered by past traumas. Boom. How do you fix that? Well, you fix that by kind of breaking up with the version of yourself that keeps needing to tell that story. Because until you do that, you're going to be held back in life. Everything you try to do is going to be seen through that lens of that trauma, and you're not going to be able to move forward. And so many women that I coach, they're always telling me, I feel stuck. And I say, you know what? I understand that. I guess you could be stuck if you're rehearsing a story and it's looped in every aspect of your life. So if you have a story of mistrust, you're not going to trust the person that's counting your money at the supermarket. You're not going to trust that the person is going to give you a parking space when they say there's your parking space. You're not going to trust even the smallest things in life, let alone the big things. And that's a problem. So we have to break up with that version of you that keeps telling that story. That's how we get rid of triggers of past traumas. Even if it starts out or it shows up as something as being impatient. The second problem is, girl, we talk so dirty to ourselves. We are like so bad on ourselves. I remember when I first started growing gray hair, I was like, oh my God, I look so old. And then I said to myself, well, damn, okay, you're 50 years old. You got gray hair growing. Now that I'm 58, I earned this gray hair. It's called wisdom. Hello. And I feel good about it. But at first I thought it made me look old. And I equated old to undervalued. And I created undervalued to mean I had to hide and pretend that I was something that I wasn't. And so it became an imposter syndrome. Sound familiar? I told you coaching is not glamorous, but it's so rewarding because you get to coach yourself. The last problem that women over 40 have is that we feel sometimes that life has passed us by. We feel disappointed and we have so many regrets, but we don't admit it. And if we don't admit those regrets, what normally happens is we start to have gastrointestinal problems. So this is kind of like a funny aside. When I was growing up in my family, it was like a spoken rule that everybody had this stuff called doo-doo tea. And now, doo-doo tea is the tea that you drink to make you have a bowel movement, because everybody in my family, they always seemingly had bowel problems. And when I started coaching and becoming a naturopath and understanding medicine and spirit, mind, and body stuff, I realized that the reason why everybody in my family has gastrointestinal problems, because nobody lets go of the trauma. Every time we got together, we talked about, what happened in 1972, and I'll never forget what you said in 1941. I'm thinking, damn, these people have never let nothing go. No wonder we have gastrointestinal problems. And I find myself being in that same soupy, nasty stuff. That's a lot of regret, right? That's a lot of, and then it comes into a lot of disappointment, and it breeds into resentment. So by now you probably can see what I mean by coaching is not glamorous, but it's so rewarding, because when you get to the point where you understand these nuances of why you need to be coached and why it's necessary to be an effective coach, you see that people are wounded. You're wounded. We're wounded. And then I go, oh, now I understand why I was called to do this work to help people. So I started this video talking about how impatient I was as I was reflecting on my day, but it kind of turned into a tangent. And I'm talking about a series of related things, but isn't that how we think? We think that way. You might start thinking about one thing, and before you know it, you're thinking about something else and something else and something else. And you say to yourself, God damn it, focus. That's one of the things that I have to tell my clients all the time, focus. But the funny thing is, my daughter tells me all the time, I remember when she was little, she would grab my face and go, Mom, focus. Now she just says to me, Mom, focus. I'm like, how do you know I'm not focused? She said, because you came upstairs, you went in the kitchen, you went to the bathroom, you went down the laundry room. I saw you come up with laundry. I saw you go down with a spoon and a fork out of your room. I saw you come back with a pot of tea. Mom, focus. What are you doing? And I go, you know what? I guess I'm not focused. And the truth is, when we are impatient and we have a lot of things going on in our life, and we don't take the time to reflect on our day, to kind of sift out where we could improve, pull out the wisdom of things, and just kind of let things flow, life could be a little crazy. And a lot of women at this stage of the game start to say, I need a therapist. I need a therapist. And I don't have anything about therapists. Anytime somebody says to me, Dr. Stephanie, I need a therapist, what I feel compelled to do is to give you the distinctions between a therapist and a coach. So here it is. A therapist is someone who's going to allow you to vent and tell your story. And she's going to say, and what do you think? And what do you think? And how does that make you feel? And what do you think? And that all sounds good, and you feel really good after a while because somebody's listening to you. You get the monkey off your back. But the truth is, you could be telling that same story for 5 years. How do I know? How do you know, Dr. Stephanie? Because coaching is not glamorous. It's rewarding. And until I got a coach and learned systems and processes, that's when I was freed from the things that I was going to therapy for. So I've been to therapy too, y'all. It wasn't pretty. And a coach says, I hear what you're saying. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. However, there's a gap in knowledge that you don't have. You don't know what you don't know. And when there's systems and structure put in place, then you will be able to use those systems and structures to put you back on your square when you pop out sometimes. So I can put myself back on my square when I pop out because I coach myself. And that was the revelation that I had today about my job as a coach. And because I do what I do and I love what I do it with a pure heart. And every day and I wake up and I go, I love my job. I created it for myself, designed specifically for me, orchestrated and designed by the divine himself. Now that's a great job to have. It's not glamorous, but it's absolutely worth it. So if you like this content and you want to connect with me, I'd like you to put down below, it's not glamorous, but it's rewarding. That's my tagline. I just made it up. I hope you like it. And also, I'm having my first International Women's Retreat, March 12th to the 16th. If you want to go to the Dominican Republic with me, I would love to have you and meet you in person. It's all inclusive. The link is down below. And again, if you like what you hear, I'm going to be posting every day about what it's like to be me as a coach who reinvented herself after being a naturopath. That's who I am. Dr. Stephanie, naturopath, wellness coach, author. Did I tell y'all guys I sing too? I'll get into that at another time. But anyway, like, subscribe, and smash that little bell thing so you can get notification of my next video. Until next time, be well.